Hi, I'm Bob. Welcome to the Economics in Real Life series. We have discussed a classic game theory case, the prisoner's dilemma. Today, we will explore another famous example in game theory and institutional economics, the tragedy of the commons. Economists use the tragedy of the commons to illustrate that if a resource does not have exclusive ownership, it will lead to overuse of this resource. The tragedy of the commons is a story like this. Two villagers are living in a village. The village has a grassland, and both villagers can freely graze their goats on the grassland. They will decide how many goats to raise. We assume that the villagers are rational, that is, they make decisions to maximize their own benefits. Each villager's benefit equals the number of goats times the value of each goat. B equals N times U. B is the benefit each villager will have. N is the number of goats raised by each villager, and U is the value of each goat. An important assumption here is that the value of the goat is closely related to the total number of the goats in the entire village. The total number of the goats, N, is the sum of the goats of each villager. The relationship between the value of each goat and the total number of the goats is as follows. As the number of goats increases, the value of each goat decreases. This reflects the fact that the grass on the grassland is limited, and as the number of goats increases, the amount of grass that each goat can eat decreases, and the goats may be undernourished and therefore reduce their value. In mathematical terms, U is a function of N. If N increases, U will decrease. That is, the first-order derivative of U with respect to N is negative. We further assume that the second-order derivative of U with respect to N is also negative. It means as the total number of goats increases, the value of each goat will decrease faster and faster. This is also a reflection of reality. For example, when the total number of goats increases from 9 to 10, it almost has no effect on each goat because they can all eat well, and the impact on the grassland environment is insignificant. However, when the total number of goats increases from 99 to 100, the impact on each goat will be greater because they are already hungry, and more importantly, the damage to the grassland environment intensifies. We can use a graph to show it. The horizontal axis represents the number of goats, and the vertical axis represents the value of each goat. The curve of the goat's value is downward sloping and concave to the origin. It means as the number of goats increases, the value of each goat decreases at an increasing rate. Under these assumptions, it can be proved that the total number of the goats raised by the villagers is greater than the socially optimal number. The socially optimal number is the one that maximizes the benefits of the entire village as a whole. I put a proof in the appendix at the end of this video. Check it out if you are interested. the phenomenon of overuse of the grassland due to villagers seeking individual benefit maximization and resulting in the total number of goats exceeding the socially optimal number is called the tragedy of the commons. The commons here refer to public resources, such as the grassland, the park, and the ocean. This type of public resources has two characteristics. One is non-exclusive, meaning that no one can prevent or limit others from using the resource. Each individual can freely use the public resources. For example, each villager can freely use the grassland in this village. Everyone has free access and an equal right to exploit this resource. The second characteristic is rivalry. It means your use will affect others' use. For example, if the grass has been eaten by one goat, the other goats could not eat it. Others cannot use the resource after being used by one person, or it reduces the benefit of the others. Items with these two characteristics are called open access, common property in economics. The no exclusion characteristics is due to the lack of property rights. The lack of clearly defined property rights leads to the abuse of public resources. For example, without a property right of the grassland, each villager has an incentive to raise more goats than the optimal number. The second characteristic of public resources, rivalry, results in a difference between private cost and social cost. The social cost is greater than private cost. For example, in our village, each villager grazes goats on the grassland, which destroys the vegetation and harms other villagers. Each villager only cares about the private cost of raising goats, but does not consider the social cost, that is, the damage to others. This is the direct cost of the overuse of public resources. Economists call this type of behavior that directly causes damage to others as negative externalities. A negative externality causes the social cost to be greater than the private cost. With a lower private cost, the maximization of individual benefits leads to the overuse of public resources. In our case, the villagers only consider private costs, so the total number of goats is too large, and the grassland is overused. If the villagers consider social costs, they will reduce the number of goats. There are examples of the tragedy of the commons in real life. The most familiar example is the ocean fishery. Many marine resources could be regarded as non-exclusive but rivalrous goods. Ocean fishery is non-exclusive but is subject to rivalry. Most ocean fisheries are open access and have no property rights. The lack of well-defined property rights leads to overfishing. Ocean fishers only look at their private cost. They will not consider the harms they do to other fishers and the ocean. Fishers have an incentive to catch more fish than they would if fishery were private property. The solutions to the tragedy of the commons are related to the two characteristics of the public resources. The government can implement exclusive measures, such as defining property rights or issuing permits. The government can also charge fees, making the individual's private cost close to the social cost. thereby reducing the use of public resources. The tragedy of the commons is a complicated yet intriguing problem. It explains how rational individuals acting in their own self-interest can deplete public resources such as grassland and cause harm to society as a whole. It involves clearly defining property rights, the relationship between private and social marginal costs, and how to efficiently deal with negative externalities. We will continue to use economic models like the tragedy of the commons in this topic to analyze issues and problems in real life, to reveal the essence and find solutions. Thank you so much for watching the Economics in Real Life series. Goodbye. Thank you for watching this video and subscribing to my YouTube channel. See you next time.